Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Chronicles with us, the Red Devil Chronicle. I'm Andy.
And my name's Nick.
And he's back from holiday, refreshed and a bigger red than ever. But that's what a week of sun, beer and good food will do for you. This week we're running through the team, trying to figure out how to get the best from the current squad that we have. And we're going to start with a topic that's been swept under the rug by a lot of United fans recently. That's right, it's the right-back debate, coming up next. Here we go then, Nick. Welcome back to you first of all. How was the holiday? Enjoy it?
Yeah, it was all right. You know, a bit of currant bun on the face. You know, he always preps you up for the week ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
A few beers, a few sangrias.
Managed to do any scouting of any Spanish players out there?
There was a waiter at the hotel actually. Alfonso.
I thought you were going to say female then.
Oh no, I wish.
I was going to say I was talking football scouting.
No, when you're with the girlfriend, you can't, unless you got sunglasses, you can't really do a lot of that.
So you were talking to Alfonso?
Yeah, he was in a football tournament over there. He was quite a decent player. You know?
Okay.
I couldn't play in that heat personally. Being half Irish, you melt in the sun. But yeah, he's a pretty decent footballer.
And did he give you any sort of transfer gossip at all?
He couldn't really speak English, if I'm being honest.
Well,
the only word he seemed to know was offside. That was the only thing he knew.
Fair enough. Right, so no news back from Nick then. That's good.
Sorry about that.
Great start. Now, as I said, we're starting this week then with the kick-off on the right-back debate. This has only come to light recently after, of course, Dani Alves, who looked nailed on to sign for United, has now gone and used our name to sign a new contract to Barcelona. We're going to talk about why we're angry with that in around 5-10 minutes of time, but firstly we're going to discuss our other options going forward, of course. We've missed out on Dani Alves now. Let's discuss some of the other options we've got, and let's start, I think, Nick, with the only place to start is with the Premier League.
Yeah, I think we both know who we're going to go with here.
Andy. I mean, it becomes between Coleman and Klein, I think.
Basically, yeah. I don't think you can...
And I think we both agree, don't we, on who we go for here?
Yeah. Personally, Klein, I think you'd agree with that. Obvious reasons stand out. He's young, he's English. Under the homegrown rules, you sort of need that now. He's very quick for a right back, which you always need in the side. And I think it's quite strange, but he has an Ashley Cole-esque feel about him. Very consistent, quick, good on the ball.
I can see that.
Technically a very good footballer. And he consistently performs for Southampton. And I think you've seen a steady progression from... He was at Palace originally. United wanted him then, but he didn't want to come because he wasn't guaranteed first-team football. So you have to respect him for that, because usually the call of a club like United... It's very hard to turn down, but he wanted just to get on the pitch instead of being sat in the bench, you know. And
I think what he's done has only bettered his career and his talent as a result.
Definitely.
Like you say, going on to Southampton, you've seen him grow, and he definitely edges it for me as well, Nick, over Coleman. I think, you know, if you looked at it in the last couple of years, you'd have probably said Coleman was a better right back, but I think you've really seen Klein step it up this season. I mean, you know, part of the second best defence in the league for a start. You know, he's part of that. I mean, he's not, you know, the whole contributor to it, but you can't argue with it. I think he's got good balance of sort of defensive stability, and he's really good going forward as well, as you say, really pacey. I know he's not chipped in a lot, you know, certainly this season. I think he scored 2, if I remember, and I think he's assisted another 2 or 3. He's only been involved in a few goals.
Yeah, I think the thing with that is what you need to look at. Southampton were a better side than Everton this year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So he was competing with a lot better attackers than Coleman was at Everton. But if you break it down and look at it, Coleman's, I think he's nearly 27. So you'd get 4, maybe 5 years out of him. Klein's 23, 24. You get 8 or 9 years out of him.
Yeah, there's a couple of years in it. And I think, to be honest, on that point I was just making about Klein getting involved in goals, I think we should be relying more on our wingers. When you're playing a 4-3-3, I don't think it's necessarily down to the attacking flair of the wing backs. Obviously, they're going to be there providing support, but I think when you're looking at the likes of talent of Depay, Di Maria, Mata, those sort of players who can play in that 3 along with the lone striker, you should be relying more on them to score the goals, not your right wing back. That's my thoughts on it anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think in our system, in the 4-3-3, I think Klein works absolutely brilliantly. Like you say, at his age, still young enough to develop his game as well.
Yeah, just going off topic a bit, just a quick one just to ask you randomly.
Yeah, sure.
Alderweireld, you mentioned Southampton had the best defence, second best defence in the league last season. Why is no one top team seem to be looking at him? He's 26. He's young for a centre back. He's very consistent.
I haven't got a clue because I put him in my team of the season.
Yeah, he was only on loan at Atletico Madrid.
That's right. Yeah.
So
I don't know personally. I have no idea. Jose Font seems to be the one getting the spotlight at Southampton for that centre-back partnership. I can't figure it out for the life of me. Jose Font's a good player, and he's been good, consistent, not brilliant. If you look at Alderweireld, as you say, he's come in to the Premier League, adapted to it straight away, hit the ground running. He's been absolutely superb and completely overlooked.
It's just a random one, but I saw it today. Chelsea are looking at him. Why are we
I'm not
in for him?
surprised. I'm not surprised.
We've got the likes of Johnny Evans. Obviously, McNair, Blackett aren't ready. Smalling is really our only consistent defender at the moment.
Yeah, which is worrying.
Why not look at him? He'd be available for cheap because Atletico Madrid want to get rid. He's not part of their Simeone's plans. It's just it seems a bit silly from our point of view.
Great shout. I mean, Southampton have always brought through really good talent, and they invested really wisely in getting Alderweireld for the season. So I can't understand why we're not in for him either. Great shout. A little bit out the box there. And speaking of outside the box, we're discussing the obvious here. Nathaniel Klein, obviously in terms of Premier League, and Coleman, but Klein more so, as we're agreeing on. Nick, I believe you had a sort of out-of-the-box, sort of left-field, other option, alternate, to look at.
It's sprung up a few times now, I've seen on social medias. A lot of fans starting to get behind it a bit. Carvajal, he plays for, obviously, Real Madrid. He's their right-back. I just think we should start looking at players like him. Obviously, Real Madrid have signed a pre-agreement contract with, I think it's Danilo from Porto.
That's right, yeah.
He's not going there to sit on the bench. At the moment, Carvajal doesn't really have any serious competition. He's got Arbeloa, who's approaching the end of his career. I think he's about 32.
Never really did it for me either.
No, he's not. He's not what they call the technically most gifted of right backs.
Absolutely not.
But Carvajal is young, so there's always room for improvement. He's quite experienced for his age. I think he's 22, 23, but he's already been capped for Spain. He's played in El Clasicos. He's featured in Germany. I think he was at Leverkusen for a time.
Yeah.
I think that's where they got him from.
Yeah.
He's rarely injured. I looked up something before the show. Over 30 appearances in the league in the last 3 seasons.
It's impressive.
Yeah. And it's quite a strange one as a pro, but he's got a low centre of gravity. He's quite a stocky player, but he's only about 5'7", 5'8". Similar build to like Aguero. Only small but very stocky. It seems to be quite successful, that type of build in the Premier League, because I don't think many of our players know how to deal with it. So I'd look at that as like a pro. Very good on the ball, hard to push off it. And in my eyes, I think he's available. I think if you were to throw, say, 15 million at Real Madrid for him, with the current issue that we talked about over the last few weeks with De Gea, I think they'd be very tempted to maybe include him in the deal. And we already have a lot of Spanish players at the end of the day, so he should be able to settle in.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I see where the link goes there, and fair enough, some good points. And the low centre of gravity thing's an interesting one.
Yeah.
It's not often you get that as a compliment as a footballer, but I understand what you're saying with Carvajal. I mean, it's sort of the same way, like you say, Aguero, not only him, but it seems to be a lot of Spanish and South Americans. Tevez, I remember, same sort of thing again.
David Silva,
even Alexis Sanchez.
With this, because he's not very tall.
Yeah,
so
exactly, yeah.
It seems to be quite a positive thing to have in the Premier League. I don't know whether it's our defenders don't seem to be able to handle it, or whether it's just that turn of pace, that quick
I think
turn.
It's difficult because obviously as defenders, you're looking 6 foot plus, aren't you, all the time?
Yeah.
Especially for the aerial battles.
You're going for a stocky guy who's 5'8",
and you're going in for a shoulder barge.
Exactly.
You're not getting anywhere near him, are you? You're going over the top of him. You're going to end up fouling him, or you're going to have to let him pass. So it's really difficult one to deal with. So it's an interesting point. That.
Well, obviously Carvajal's got his negatives. Again, the fee, I would assume, would be between 15 and 20 million.
Yeah.
So he's not cheap. So for that sort of money, you could get maybe Klein for a lot less.
Yeah.
He's quite aggressive. I think we've both talked about this in the past. He's a very aggressive player. He likes to get stuck in, which obviously
that was going to be my point.
I like to see it. Yeah. But like I said, I love Raphael. Don't get me wrong. I would keep him at United, but he's never improved. That's my issue with him. And every time he plays in big matches, he looks like he's going to get sent off. He does something rash, something stupid, pushes someone, kicks out at someone, and I just don't think it's worth it anymore. He's not really homegrown, so with the FA trying to introduce these proposals where you've got to have, I think it's 11 or 12 players in the squad that are based homegrown, he wouldn't be classed as that. But apart from that, they're my only issues I really see with him. I think you've gone in a slightly different direction with this.
I have, yeah. I'll just pick you up on a couple of things with Carvajal before I give you my sort of left field look on things for right back. The discipline thing that you mentioned there, that's a huge issue for me with Carvajal. As you just alluded to, Raphael was and has been
a fan favourite, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, fan favourite, but also a walking red card.
Yeah.
And I do worry. I mean, I like aggression, like you say, to a degree. I think if you use it right and you channel it well, it can bring out the best in players. I also think it can definitely bring the worst out.
Do you know how many bookings he got last season? Have you looked it up?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I looked into this, because I was comparing him against the other sort of three that we're going to talk about, my option in a moment, Coleman and Klein, and I think he was over double the yellow cards of any of the other three. I think he got 12 in the league last season, if I remember it rightly.
Take into account the league is not as physical as the Premier League. So
there's a lot more fouls in La Liga football as
take
well.
that for granted. Knock 5 of them yellow cards off, possibly. He would have got away with.
Still 2 more than Coleman.
It's still quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's huge.
But like we said, he's only 23.
Yeah.
He can improve, and I think I think we've been linked recently, because we record these on Thursday nights, Gregory Van der Wiel from PSG.
That's right, yeah, there's been a lot battered
I don't
around.
want him, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm
I
not
can't
sure what
see
your
why you'd go
thoughts
for
are
him.
on this.
No, I can't see why you'd go for him at all.
He can't get in the PSG team. Why should he get in ours?
He shouldn't. And when we're talking about these options, if you're looking at Klein, even Coleman and Carvajal that you just mentioned there, all three of them are better players.
Exactly.
So why would you pick a poorer player?
It seems like we're getting sort of handed someone that they don't want.
And
he's not on little wages as well. I looked into it. I think it's about 70, 80 grand a week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they all are at PSG.
Yeah,
They're all on ridiculous money.
Yeah, it's not like you're just getting him on the cheap and he's only on 15 grand. Obviously, to me and you, that's a lot of money, but to a footballer. But he's on a good amount of money.
He is.
So I'd rather look at alternatives.
Definitely. I mean, if Klein wasn't available for me, my option would be Matteo Darmian, Torino player. Now, he started out his career as a centre-back, so he's got the strength and the technical and tactical awareness needed at the back, but he really has turned into a sort of dynamic, quick wing-back. He's capable of playing on either side, which I really like. You can play him on the right or the left, so he adds a bit of versatility. Sort of in the same way you could play Azpilicueta at Chelsea. I know he only plays at the left now, but you could play him at right-back, so it sort of works in the same way. I just think he provides a great bit of depth in terms of the forward play for us. He's got really good stamina as well. We were talking only a week or two about this. United, we fade off late in games.
Yeah, we've mentioned that.
Yeah, it's been a big thing this season, and I know a lot of that's been blamed on the training from Van Gaal, etc. But if you've got players in the squad that have stamina inbuilt in them, they're going to keep going anyway. And Darmian is one of those players. So if the other three that we've discussed sort of weren't available, as an outside shout, I would go Darmian any day over Van der Wiel, as we've mentioned, as one of the other options. So that'd be for me. At 25, he's got good experience, but he's still got time to step it up as well. I think it's the right time to sign him. He's good at picking out crosses, unlike the triple tap Valencia crosses we've become accustomed to at Old Trafford. So for me, that would be my left field way of looking at it. I don't know what your thoughts are on Darmian.
My first issue, you sort of mentioned it straight away. He started out at centre half. I've just got my personal opinion. I find fullbacks that started at centre back not very good on the ball, and I like very skillful fullbacks. We've had Evra. You look at Dani Alves, who we were linked with. These are very skillful footballers. They could play on the wing if they wanted to. And with Darmian sat, he's quite a big lad as well. I think he's about 6 foot, 6'1". So
he's sort of like Carvajal in his stockiness, but he's taller.
He's taller, yeah.
But he's really good on the ball. The thing is, I mean, I understand what you're saying if you're talking about players like Phil Jones converting from centre back to right back. But I mean, Rio Ferdinand, plays like that. They have the ability to play the ball out. Even Paddy McNair is a sort of younger example. There are centre-backs out there that are very comfortable on the ball, and I don't really see that as an issue. I mean, yes, I understand the sort of taller, gangly centre-back playing out at right back.
I remember a few seasons ago we had Chris Smalling at right back, and it just looked like, it looked awful at times. The ball was passed to him, it was like a hot coal, he didn't know what to do with it, it was bouncing off his foot, whereas you look at some right backs and it's like Velcro, the ball just sticks to them, and that's the sort of right back I like to look at. But secondly, my other issue I have with him is the league he plays in. Obviously, I don't consider any league to be better than our league for the competitiveness.
Well, in terms of competitiveness, I'll give you that.
But the Serie A are particularly poor.
Yeah.
I'd put that on par with the Championship. I don't think it's particularly very good.
Oh no, it's a shambles of a league. Beyond Juventus, arguably Roma.
Yeah, so you've got Darmian's playing against players who aren't of the highest level. It's not a very competitive league. It's more tactical than competitive. Teams go to the bigger teams and just sit back and try and draw or get beat 1-0 instead of 5. So personally, that would be my other issue with him. Another one that I'd probably have with him, he is 25. I think he's 26 later this year. That'd probably be another issue with me. Again, it's similar to Coleman. The targets that we've mentioned previously are 3, maybe 4 years younger than him.
You can't have an issue with a player at 25, surely.
Well, it's a bit daft. But when we're looking at other players that I consider better that are younger anyway, I'd rather just go for them and pay a little bit more.
Oh, yeah. I mean, don't get this mixed up. Klein is my number one choice all day. And when you look at the age, obviously, he's got years to develop. So I understand that. But at 25, I mean, I've no issue with that. If we sign a 25-year-old right back, we've got years to get out of him. He can still step that up for me.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think one thing we could certainly agree on with the right back debate, and certainly on Twitter, please get involved. We're at We Follow United. Let us know who you'd have at right back now we've missed out on Dani Alves. I think we could agree, Nick, they're definitely all sort of step-ups from what we've got in Valencia and Rafael. I think we can agree all 4 of them
I think you summed Antonio Valencia up quite well with the triple tap FIFA cross.
Yeah.
I think that is hope. Just pray and hope when he crosses it. Hope he gets on the end of it.
It's just awful to watch. It's never picking out a target, is it?
No.
But, for me, I think all of them I think are potentially available. I think they're all a good step up as well. I mean, Nick, going to fire a question at you.
Yeah.
I mean, if the worst were to happen, because of course we're going to have a chat about further positions that we need to strengthen in. If Louis van Gaal was to sacrifice signing a new right back, can Valencia and Rafael do a job for next season?
With better players, yeah, you'd like to think so. I think people need to remember with Tony V, he isn't a right back. He's a winger predominantly, and he's being used at right back. He's never complained about it. He gets a lot of stick from United fans. But at the end of the day, he isn't a right back. He's doing a job for us, and you've got to respect him for that. Obviously, he's getting paid a vast amount of money to do it. But at the end of the day, he's a decent squad player to have. Obviously, we've mentioned about Rafael. His discipline on the pitch is very poor. And
defensively, he's not very sound either.
So worst case scenario, that would be the one position within our squad I would probably go another season without if I had to.
So you think we could sacrifice?
It depends if we got players in better positions.
Yeah.
But if we did, we got guaranteed 3 or 4 other players in centre mid, centre back, up top, maybe on the wing. I would gladly go into the season missing out on a right back.
Okay. I mean, for me, in a word, no, we cannot, under any circumstances, for me, sacrifice right back for next season. I just don't see the quality there. I think Valencia can fill the gap, as you say, as a backup. He's certainly not a right back, but he does a job.
It'd be stupid to sacrifice it because at the end of the day, Klein's available. If we pay the money, he will come. He's got 12 months left on his contract. Darmian's available. Carvajal looks like he's going to be available. So if Van Gaal can't go out and splash a bit of cash and get us a decent right back in, there's something
I'd be
right.
really worried because when you look at the likes of sort of Eden Hazard, Alexis Sanchez, even Yannick Bolasie last season, the idea that Valencia or Rafael will be facing up as our options to handle those sort of issues, that scares me. It really does. Valencia will struggle to cope at the better levels in that position, especially with us being back in Champions League potentially this season. All barring a miracle of
quick
qualify.
question for you. Obviously, you just asked me if we could sacrifice it. If we just signed a right back, which one, Valencia or Rafael, would you get rid of?
Out of the two, I'd get rid of Rafael. Reason being,
I agree with that.
Valencia provides more versatility.
And I think he's a better player when he plays on the pitch as
well. He does a better job for me. Defensively, he works back really well. He's disciplined. He's not always positionally very sound.
Yeah, and he does have his moments of madness. Do you think about that back pass?
Yeah, quality. Yeah. You'd have to, out of the two, you'd have to keep Valencia. He could be a good backup. How much do you think we'd get for
Rafael? Realistically, I think he's got 2 years left on his deal. 8 million, 7 million.
I was gonna say 8. Something around that sounds about right,
sounds
doesn't it?
Does it? 10 seems too much.
10 seems too much, but 5 seems too little.
Yeah, it's about
somewhere
7,
in the middle.
I
wouldn't be that bothered about what you got for him, to be honest with you. He's just not going to fulfil a role at Old Trafford. He's just not happened for him. A couple of years ago,
Liverpool need a right back. Glenn Johnson's left.
Well, what a hole to fill that would be. I remember Rafael a couple of years back. I don't know if you remember the game specifically, Nick, but against Arsenal, where I think we started with 7 or 8 defenders.
Fabio was in the
right,
wing. Yeah, I do remember that.
He was incredible that day, and I thought, do you know what? He could turn good here. And
we've heard this before, though. John O'Shea wants Meg Figo.
Well, he did, yeah. He just went backwards from there, didn't he? But there you go. I mean, out of the targets, then we agree. Basically, Nathaniel Klein has to be the one.
He's the number one target, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Nick, that conversation that we've just had there, debating the right-back options, that all came around because Dani Alves looked certain to come to United, got us interested in him, and then got a new deal out of it at Barcelona. Now, this is something that's fast becoming a trend in my mind.
Yeah.
Sort of players and agents flirting with other clubs, getting use of their name. You think Ronaldo a few years ago, you think Theo Walcott recently with Arsenal, we still don't know what's happening with him, Raheem Sterling, Mats Hummels, possibly, if he stays at Dortmund, could be the same. Even Schweinsteiger.
If he dug his heels in, Mats Hummels, you could probably get an extra 50 grand a week out of Dortmund.
This is what I'm saying. So it seems to be becoming a sort of an issue now, where players are using our name to get themselves what they want. I mean, what do you have to say on that side of things?
I think it's modern football. I think the amount of money that you're giving these players, the young men, effectively. Raheem Sterling's still a boy. He's 20 years old, and Liverpool are offering him £100,000 a week. I think his agent come out and said I wouldn't play for 900 grand if they offered Raheem that. Like, we wouldn't do ball. So I think you really need to consider. You need to consider how modern football's going. I think this is why the financial fair play rules are trying to come in. You need to take away some player power. When you've got obviously I don't really like Liverpool, but they're a massive club. And when you've got a 20-year-old boy. Yeah, okay. When you've got a 20-year-old boy dictating to them what he wants to do, there's something wrong with football, in my eyes. And obviously, Ronaldo's done it to us. He's done it to us more than once. Rooney's done it to us. And the time we really needed Rooney, we were struggling for star players. City was sort of coming of age. Rooney decided he wanted to go to Chelsea, and I've had this conversation with you every week. I'm not forgiven for it. I don't think I ever will.
No, it doesn't sound like you're on the way to.
No, I don't think I don't. We've already covered this. I'm not going to go into it again.
But I mean, the thing is with this, Nick, is I don't know if you agree with me on this, but players seem to get through one good season, maybe score 10, 15 goals, 20 at a push.
Oh, definitely.
And suddenly they want 200 grand a week.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
It's not just the wage they want; it's the valuation.
Yeah,
remember
the valuation.
Aaron Ramsey, the season before last.
Yeah.
He was on fire. He was one of the top goal scorers in the league.
Yeah, he was. Yep.
I think Barcelona was sort of sniffing around him, and they have been again recently. And I think Arsenal quoted them £50 million. I mean, it's Aaron Ramsey. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, he is a very good player.
He's a very good player.
He's not a 50 million player at all.
And I think we started this, if we're being perfectly honest. United started this trend of ridiculous valuations with the Ronaldo sale.
I think that's where this all came from, because I was looking into this. If you look at the top transfer fees spent out by clubs, I think 7 of the other 9, if I remember rightly, something along that line, is scary, of the other top 10 transfers after Ronaldo, they came after Ronaldo had been sold to Real Madrid.
Barcelona and Real Madrid as well, isn't it?
A lot of them are Barcelona and Real Madrid.
This is the other issue that I have as well, the scary issue that seems to be floating around football at the moment. Other teams seem to produce these players, and then Real Madrid and Barcelona just take them off their hands. That's what seems to be happening, especially Real Madrid, particularly them. I don't know if they have any homegrown ruling in Spain, but I think if they did, Real Madrid would be in serious trouble. And then I can even see Raheem Sterling going to Real Madrid, if I'm being honest. Like that's what it's turning into now.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, when you look at it, though, that Nick, on that side of things, I mean, of the richest teams in world football at the moment, if I remember rightly, obviously United were in there, Manchester City, Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool.
PSG.
They're making up, though, English teams are making up half of the top 10.
But we're not signing big players.
So where are we falling down?
This is the issue we're having. I think a lot of it is the location.
Is it too much to put it down to just the lifestyle, the weather?
I think it is simply that. I think it's and I think a lot of the players that we're looking at, that we want to sign, are Latin-based players. The Argentinians, the Brazilians.
Well, they seem to be the players that are doing it at the moment.
Yeah, and they're the ones that want to go there. I think if you have a player like Schweinsteiger, for example, who we've been linked with, if Real Madrid went in for him as well, and we were both sort of going in for him, that would be a straight-up 50-50. I don't think that would be based off location. That would be based off the player's heart himself, where he wants to go, and I think he'd probably want to go to the Premier League. With
Schweinsteiger, though, Real Madrid aren't being linked with him at all.
No.
Is it that Europe, within Europe, England are the country that are handing over happily handful of cash to European teams for their sort of rejects and has-beens?
We spoke about this the other day. I don't think we're playing hardball enough, barring Levy at Tottenham, who I think is a tremendous negotiator when he wants to be. Getting 100 million for Bale is incredible. But if you look at the Fabregas sale, for example, I think Barcelona paid Arsenal 24 million for him.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think Fabregas had 3, maybe 4 years left on his deal. Lots of time. Barcelona came in and just said, we want our player back. Fabregas wanted to go. Arsenal just sort of sat down and said, there you go, you can have him, 24, 25 million. And then after 2 brilliantly average seasons at Barcelona where he didn't really light it up, he got, I think it was 30 million back to Chelsea. So where did that 5-6 million come from? If anything, he was worth less because he was 2 years older.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it does seem to be an issue, this price tag thing. I mean, when you look at Harry Kane, again, Daniel Levy, 40 to 50 million pound price tag on Harry Kane after 1 season. Where is that valuation coming from? But I tell you what, though, I'd have a lot of these players we're talking about, the likes of Harry Kane, we mentioned about Sterling, Walcott. I'd have a lot of these players still, but only at the right price. I think you've just got to be more ruthless, like you say. I think Woodward just needs to go in there. Maybe unsettle players. Maybe just take up what Real Madrid are doing. I know we don't agree with it, but I think sometimes you just got to play the game.
Use their squad to entice players. I always remember when Ronaldo was at United, Sergio Ramos came out and said he was a born Real Madrid player. And that was all over the news at the time, Sky Sports saying Sergio Ramos says this, Sergio Ramos says that. And I think Real Madrid are very canny on using their squad to entice players, and I don't think British teams do that enough. I'd like to see, one of our star players come out, say Rooney, and say, oh, Sergio Ramos would be great at Manchester United, or, so Cruz would be great at Manchester United. Really unsettle one of the Spanish-based players. Try and get them over here.
Now, there's a couple of players I know you want to wrap up talking about here. You said to me earlier on when we were putting the show together, you wanted to ask about a few players on the way out of Europe, but not the conventional ones. You were looking a little bit older, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I know what you're coming to now. It's about the Xavi Pirlo debate.
This is it, yeah. What was your point on this?
Well, basically, you've seen what Cambiasso's done for Leicester this year.
Yeah.
You've seen what Frank Lampard's done at City. Both quite successful seasons for the respected ages, 35 and 36, I think.
Right.
I just think a lot of the argument this season with United, we have lacked squad depth. I think we can both agree on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I made the point of it last week.
I think the games that affected that were we didn't have enough experience in the squad. You've seen when Michael Carrick leaves our midfield looks like a load of lost dogs. They don't have a clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's no calming presence. And I just think looking at an older player for maybe 1, 2, even 3 seasons, just to get them in, just to have their calming influence, like the likes of Pirlo at Juventus or Xavi was like at Barcelona, or even Cambiasso at relegation-threatened Leicester, they do a job. And I think that's what we're missing. And if you remember years ago, Fergie, he got Laurent Blanc in when he was right at the end of his career. And it was basically just to shore the defence up and put a calming presence at the back four. I think we're massively missing an experienced player.
I mean, it's left field thinking without a doubt, but I get the argument because, for me, certainly, United's issue recently hasn't been against the bigger club since Van Gaal has come in.
Oh, it's brilliant against the big teams.
He's worked that problem out of the squad. The issue has been for us against the sort of so-called smaller teams.
Swanseas, the Leicesters.
Exactly, yeah. Now, in those
Burnley draw.
Yeah, exactly. In those sort of games, in those sort of so-called smaller games, their experience really could be crucial to the squad. I understand that. Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're missing out on Pirlo and Xavi because they've both made their decisions to go elsewhere.
I think they are a little bit too old now as well, if I'm thinking about it. I think Pirlo's 37 later this year.
Yeah.
So you've got to start being realistic on this. My issue would be Schweinsteiger. He's 31 in August. He's available really cheap. And he's a very experienced player. He's a calming presence. We need to seriously consider him on top of Gundogan and Schneiderlin as well. Add real squad depth.
Yeah, you'd need to have a couple of other signings as well as Schweinsteiger, as you say. He could be the veteran, and that could work. I mean, it's an interesting way of looking at it. Certainly. I mean, we've missed out, as I say. Xavi's on his way to Qatar. Pirlo's still making.
I'd probably still have Xavi, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I probably would have as well. Thinking about it,
for a season or two, I'd probably still have him.
Pirlo's got the coin flip of America or Australia, but like you say, he's getting beyond sort of point of being able to play.
I think he's a year or two older than Xavi as well.
He is, but then saying that, he managed to get 90 minutes in the Champions League final, which is no bad thing.
And he didn't exactly look tired.
No, he wasn't very good, but he didn't look tired. Is what you could say.
There is an argument there. He could maybe get a season out of Pirlo, but I don't think Van Gaal will be looking at that personally.
Well, that's plenty got off your chest early on in the show, Nick. We've got plenty more to discuss coming up. Next up, it's the shootout, where we're going to look further at the squad depth and some of the other hard-hitting questions. It's shootout time, and that means producer Joe's back. Joe, how's it feel to be on the other side of the glass?
I feel a bit lonely today.
Do you?
Just a tiny bit. Not as within today. Not with you all.
And he's giving me a cuddle right now.
He is.
It's nice to see. It's a nice view anyway.
Yeah, it's lovely, yeah. That's why we've got the lights turned down. Now then, here we are again. It's time for Nick and I to be put through our paces on some of the big issues and some of the questions facing, of course, Man United. Now, for those of you new to the podcast, we have 30 seconds to answer each question, and then we throw it to the floor for a general discussion. Get producer Joe involved as well. Now, Joe, I know it is the same number of questions that we give to you to prepare every week. Have you figured out how many questions you've got for us?
It's going to go right out there. It's 5.
It's not, though, is it?
It is in total.
It's 4, though, that you've prepared for us, right?
Well, 5.
He'll learn 1 week.
And 1 for our lovely audience members.
No, our lovely audience members are not the only one getting question 5 this week.
Well, I feel a bit awkward about that. I've spoken enough.
They are getting the question, and we're going to ask them to give them responses on Twitter, but we're going to ask it to you as well, Joe. Now you're back on the other side.
Feel a bit
Yeah, we can't leave you out.
Well, you never know.
This is
it.
it.
Might go right. Who knows?
Yeah, so it's 4 questions, just to clarify. 1 from us to you, because then, of course, that breeds the catchphrase. Can't be a shootout without 5.
There you go.
There you go.
That's every week.
We'll get you there. Right, so, Joe, question 1 I believe you've got is for Nick. So, fire away when you're ready. Tell us what the question is.
So, Nick, you've just touched on this briefly. Which way would you want to improve the squad? Would you want an older, experienced player, a young, raw prospect, or would you want a decent, proven player at the peak of their career?
Well, I think it's like a bit like Haribo, really. A pick and mix would be nice. I think we need that. I think every club needs that. I've said before, I thought what Cambiasso did with Leicester this season was brilliant. And I think it seems to be when we're without Carrick, we always get that stat lobbed at us that we can't seem to win a game without the man. We look awful without him. So signing an older player on a 1, maybe 2 year deal wouldn't really bother me. Bayern Munich have done it with Alonso. I've mentioned Pirlo and Xavi. The type of player I think we should be looking at really is Schweinsteiger and maybe even Schneider again.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Schneider again.
I'm throwing that right out there.
Went over as well just to get that pointed.
Yeah, I thought, because it was his birthday yesterday.
Was it?
Yeah.
So it was worth breaking the 30
31.
second barrier just to mention.
He's 31, so technically he's a veteran now.
Well,
he's more than a veteran. He's beyond his past it.
So to wrap it up, is it young talent? Is it raw prospect?
I think we've got enough young talent in the team.
Okay.
Because it's difficult to bring in a balance of the three,
I'd like a mix of everything. Like I said, it's like a pick and mix, but I think we've got more youth at the moment than we have experience. I think Carrick is a very experienced player. He's played in Champions League finals. He's played in F finals, FA Cup finals. If you want, he's played all over the show. I think you have to quote me on that. So I think we do need.
Obviously, it's easy to say
players.
Decent, proven players as the answer.
Yeah, but they're the hard ones to get.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, James Milner was available.
Oh no! Start me on James Milner.
Yeah, I was in Spain. I was listening to that. I just don't agree, Andy.
Well, I still think
got some backup this week
in terms of decent, proven players, and he was free and he was English. Don't get me started again. But there you go. That would be my thoughts.
I'd like
the one that got away,
and Danny Ings as well. Can I just mention Danny Ings?
I would have taken him personally. I think he's a bit of a waste with the bin dippers.
He was free again.
Yeah, but you've still got to pay his wage. It doesn't make him a free player, does it?
Well, he was free to sign. I mean, there's no, you'd have been adding 10, 15 million.
Let's make another point as well.
Go on.
James Milner's on £165,000 a week.
Yeah, I mean that's probably where I'd
go.
When James Milner is your highest earner, you are no longer a big club. I think
I certainly wouldn't have taken him for 165. That would not have been happening.
Take him for 100, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
Herrera's on 70.
Joe, we'll move on to question 2 then, and I believe that one's for me.
Yeah, you're correct. At least you're doing half the job for me.
Yeah, I'm trying.
So, Andy, can you name 3 players you'd send out on loan?
I can. From front to back, I'd go Tyler Blackett, Adnan Januzaj, and James Wilson. I'd send out sort of Blackett over McNair, as I feel Blackett has more sort of errors to iron out in his game. I feel he's got potential, but I think there's more talent in McNair, so I'll keep hold of him for now. With the talent growing on the wings as well, and the players that are still being linked to us, I don't think there's room for Januzaj right now. It'd be a shame to lose him altogether. And again, with players linked up front, I can't see how Wilson gets the nod either. I worry all 3 have got limitations, but hopefully a loan will give him a last chance.
Fair play.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd add to that, maybe a different point that not many people have raised, loan Wilson and Januzaj to the same team, both to Bournemouth possibly.
Try and get a bit of cohesion out of
bit
them.
of cohesion,
Sort of work
and
together.
a sense of playing together.
I've never been a fan of Januzaj anyway.
I know you haven't.
I'm a fan of him, but I think he's not a winger. He's a behind the striker type player. He's not got the pace to play on the wings.
I mentioned this point a couple of weeks back when you fired about Januzaj, Joe. Decision making could be crucial to his failings. Really, the fact that he never gets to be as successful as he looked.
Well,
no one ever seems to mention this though. But if we loan him out to Everton and we loan Wilson to Bournemouth and we loan Blackett to Derby County, for example, just picking them out randomly.
Yeah.
I'd rather loan our players out to the same club.
Send them all to Bolton. That's where the rest of them have gone.
Possibly a Premier League club. No, I'm talking. Bournemouth need players. They were not expected to get promoted. Yeah, so I wouldn't mind paying the wages as well and loaning them to Bournemouth because
they'd all get game time there as well.
Exactly, they would play every single week. So I'd more than happily pay the wages, but loan them to Bournemouth.
Interesting one. Yeah.
I still can't believe I said Wesley Sneijder.
I can't. What is wrong with you? This is what a week away from the show does to you. But on those three that I've mentioned, Blackett, Januzaj and Wilson, do you see any of them ultimately being successes at United, or are they all sort of loans to sell at a later stage?
I don't think... if you'd hope that they would have broken into the squad a bit.
I see Januzaj as a success.
I do think Januzaj could be a player...
He's got the highest potential out of all of them.
Squad player.
No. See, the thing is,
I don't see him being much more than a squad player.
No,
if I'm honest.
I watched Januzaj previously when he was played in the under-21s. I watched him on MUTV. I even went to a couple of the games, and he was played in a number 10 role, and he got under-21 player of the season when he played there, and there was a reason for that. He's very good on the ball. He's very skillful. He can pick a pass out. He isn't quick enough to play on the wing, and it's a waste throwing him out there, and people don't see the best of him. But he's not going to be able to play in the number 10 position when we've got the likes of Juan Mata and Rooney and even Fellaini who's been chucked in there.
Should he not be challenging for that role as a younger player?
No? Not yet. I think what is he 20?
James Wilson was good for the under-21, so with what you were saying about him, being good at that level, is that his level?
Technically, I don't think James Wilson's in the same league as Januzaj.
Ben Amos was good for the under-21s.
He was still playing for the under-21s when he was 28. No, he's 25, but you know what I mean. James Wilson's a brilliant potential. He's raw talent, his pace, his power. He's got a finish on him, but in terms of actual ability, Januzaj I think he's our best chance of a top player at the moment. Still.
I think he needs the same conditioning as Shaw in a way. I think that'd be a good option.
He needs to bulk up.
Yeah,
he's
not strong enough. He's not physical enough.
To be fair, there's a couple of players need that. Di Maria at the highest level.
I think my leg weighs more than him.
Yeah, well, without a doubt. Yeah, twice. We'll move on to question
swiftly
3.
on.
Yeah, go on.
So back to you, Nick. Which would
wonderful.
you choose next season, as in terms of finishing? Finish second in the league and win no trophies, or would you prefer to finish 4th and win the FA Cup?
Okay, well, I'd rather finish 1st in the league and win no trophies, but the Premier League. I know. I'd rather finish 4th and win the FA Cup. I touched upon about this earlier on. We've not won the FA Cup since 2003. I think it was Millwall we beat at Wembley. Don't quote me on that because I was only about 12 at the time.
It was 2004.
Was it 2004? Oh, blimey.
It was Millwall.
Was it Millwall?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's it. It's a good enough shout. So, yeah, I'd like to win the FA Cup. If we finish 4th again, it would feel like a step back, but, we need some silverware, just to shut the fans up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think silverware's.
I think we said that last week. We agreed with you on that point.
We need, we've not won anything for nearly 4 years.
Come to Old Trafford and the trophy cabinet's empty. What's the point?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather finish 4th. I mean, we had a chat about this with Mark, and he said if we were to play badly, that would be the only way we could finish 4th.
But look
if
at
we're
Chelsea
playing well,
this season.
We should be finishing higher.
The people are criticising the way they've played, but they've won the Premier League.
At a canter.
Yeah, so you can imagine if we played brilliant football next year, and it was like watching Pep's Guardiola, Barcelona team of a few years ago. It was like watching that, but we came 4th and won the FA Cup. I would have no qualms about that.
Can you class passing the ball into a net as exciting football?
I mean the team that ripped United apart at Wembley when Pep was in charge.
That's such a simplistic way of looking at Guardiola's team. I love it. That's more like looking at Arsenal.
Well, it's the same.
No, if you remember the Wembley game where they turned up and we were arguably one of the best teams on the planet at that point. but so were they, and they ripped us to pieces. You know,
Yeah,
that is the type of level I'm talking.
They schooled us on that.
I aspire to be. Yeah. If David Moyes came out and said we aspired to be like that, I would have patted him on the back and said good luck, pal. But
yeah, no, I think self-aware is important over the sort of finish, because I don't think we're going to win the league anyway.
Yeah, we've already talked about this.
Why not try and get some silverware out of the season, something to bring home to the fans?
Still consolidating.
Nick, I asked Andy this last week.
Yeah.
Capital One Cup, would that cut it for you?
Don't care about it. I'd use that to play the kids. If I mean, it sounds all horrible, and it's not probably it's not the proper way.
Sure.
I'm hoping Januzaj and Wilson will be at Bournemouth by then.
Well, there's no kids
I just love
Bournemouth.
Play, will
they? Well, we've got a couple coming back. I mean, we've got Lingard coming back from Derby. Well. Who looks a really good young player. Obviously started against Swansea first day of the season and went off injured. Sam Johnson.
He's done well at Preston.
Pereira.
Yeah.
Looks a really good bright talent. So there's still a few knocking around.
Which Pereira are you talking about? We've got Joel, or we've got Andre. I think it's Andre.
Yeah,
Pereira.
Yeah.
He's I can see him getting first team football next year.
Yeah, I do as well.
I'd be very shocked if he didn't.
I think Lingard will be given a chance as well, because Van Gaal wanted to start him.
He's already been,
first
game of the season.
Swansea, went off injured.
He got crying, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he was in Van Gaal's plans, I really do. So, who knows, maybe we'll see a bit of
he's signed a new 3-year deal.
Yeah, exactly. So there's still talent coming through there. Joe, we'll fire through to the last question that you've got for us.
So this one was asked to me and to our audience last week.
Ah, right, okay.
So it is, with your LVG being a short-term option, who would you consider to be the next manager of Man United? Who would you want?
So it's a good question, and obviously I fired this one out to you last week, as you say, and we got some brilliant views from the fans that I'll read into in a moment. For me, to quote a legend of a fan, I would have gone with Pep Guardiola. He learnt his trade under Van Gaal, plays a similar brand of football to Van Gaal, and he's trying, I think would play it in a better way now. I think Van Gaal's sort of at the end of his career and not playing it the way he used to. I think with the high press of Pep in there, I think that would really add to it. And I've run out of time.
All right.
So very good on the 30 seconds. I'll give you that, Andy.
Looking at the tweets, I mean, it seems the majority are going for Klopp.
Yeah, I noticed it.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
There's a real trend. I mean, looking at it, like you say, at Mark Hawkins 123 says Jurgen Klopp is waiting if Giggs wasn't ready, which I think is interesting as well.
No,
I would say
Giggs.
Klopp #1 target. Giggs.
My favourite one here is at Tom Cleverly 231 Ancelotti. Well, I mean, what's he going to do with his Twitter handle? I don't know, but
yeah, he needs to change that handle, doesn't he?
Yeah. I don't think it's possible, but
it might actually be Tom.
But yeah, Tom cleverly wants Ancelotti. I mean, why would you go Ancelotti?
He just reminds me of a mafia don. If I'm being honest,
I don't think I would pick him. Again, if he does mention if Giggs wasn't ready. So I think that's a second option to Giggs. If he wasn't ready, he's kind of stating.
I can just imagine though, if we got Ancelotti and we had a player who didn't perform, they'd go missing. No one would know where they were. He'd been whacked.
Oh dear, I don't think he's quite as bad as that, but he has the look
Di
about him.
Maria's worried now.
Yeah, he should be as well. But I think going back to Pep, in my mind, he plays the style of football Van Gaal does, but in a sort of more aggressive way is what I was trying to get out in the 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I really like the high press. I've always been a big fan of it. I think that, again, there would come down to sort of conditioning and stamina of the squad. I think you'd need to have more about the team to be able to do that for 90 minutes. Yeah. But I can see there's a couple of people on Twitter that have agreed with us on this. Tim Jones has put Guardiola is the only option for me. He carried on and improved Van Gaal's work at Barca and made them best team in my opinion ever, he says, which I know you agreed with, Nick.
Well, the thing that I have the issue with certain fans regarding Guardiola, he gets floated about a lot, like he's a bit of a fraud and he only goes to the best teams. When you've won what Guardiola's won, you can choose the best teams. You know, he's not going to go to Yeovil Town.
No, and he shouldn't. No. Why should he go there to prove himself?
What they need to realise is when Guardiola originally took over, I think he took over after Rijkaard in 2008, Deco was still at Barcelona, Ronaldinho, Ed Mielson, there was a lot, Rafael Marquez, there was a lot of players at Barcelona who were at the peak of their powers, 28, 29, who star players of the team, really massive egos, and he came in and he got rid of them. And I think the first couple of months in Barcelona, there was a lot of fans thinking, what's this guy doing? A young manager came in, got rid of the top names, sold them off to other things. Like obviously Ronaldinho had a lot of problems with his personal life, but he was still one of the best players at the club. He got rid of them players. He then promoted the likes of Iniesta. I know LVG promoted them to the first team, but he gave them a senior role in the team. If you look back to the 2006 Champions League final, I think it was against Arsenal, Xavi was 26 years old and he was sat on the bench. He wasn't the great player that we all know now who's left Barcelona with 23, 24 trophies to his name.
Is a challenge not sometimes more proving than what he came in and did?
I just think he had the guts to go in and say, I don't
He already
want
had the
these
spine,
players.
though. It'd be like, if he came to United, could he do the same job?
He didn't have the spine, though. The spine of the team predominantly was Carlos Puyol, Rafael Marquez, and you had the likes of Ed Mielson in midfield, playing defensive midfield. You had Deco, Ronaldinho, Sami Eto'o up front.
Yeah, but Messi was always coming through the ranks.
Oh, yeah. He was a 20-year-old Argentinian kid who Guardiola just said, I'll make the best player in the world.
You can't give Guardiola all the credit, though, because
definitely no.
Van Gaal before him, I know, didn't completely promote, but brought Xavi and Iniesta back into the team from adversity.
He was the one that gave him the first chance initially. All I'm saying, my argument is, Guardiola went in there and had the guts to change it all. He sold 5-6 top players and brought in these kids that we now know, like Sergio Busquets, Biscuits. He came from the reserves. He made that trio, Xavi, Iniesta, he made them there, Busquets. And I just think he gets a bit of bad credit, and he's a top manager. He can speak lots of languages. I saw a training session in Bayern Munich, and he was hurling German language at all the players, saying, "You do this, you do," and it was really impressive to see.
Yeah, it's good to get someone out, on the training ground as well, and I think his style of play would be perfect at United.
A Barca style of play.
A Barca style of play, yeah, exactly.
That's what we're looking for.
So
high pressing passing game. Yeah.
Nick, for you, Pep, then
definitely.
Me, Pep as well. Joe.
Ooh, you'd have to say Pep, wouldn't you?
Look, I'll throw a
clean sweep.
I'll throw a few scenarios at you, Andy. We don't win the league next year.
Right.
We come third or maybe fourth again. Don't really win any silverware. Play decent football. Pep Guardiola's contract expires at Bayern Munich. Would you get rid of LVG?
Yes.
Yeah, I would as well.
Yeah.
If we won the league next year, I think LVG will leave anyway. I don't think we'll have to get rid of him. He'll be 64. I think he'll take it into realisation that we need a younger manager. And I think Pep Guardiola is waiting for the United job to be available.
Maybe so. Well, that last scenario that you've just sort of gave a brief mention to is actually the question I'm going to fire at you, Joe.
Brilliant.
And it also went out to the fans on Twitter. So we've had a bit of input on this already. We'll discuss in a moment. But we are going to put it back out on Twitter again just to ask a little bit further on this. So, Joe, question 5. Wouldn't be a shootout without 5.
Exactly.
If Man United do win the Premier League next season, would you keep Louis van Gaal with 1 year left on his contract for the season, or would you get rid of him and bring in a longer term replacement?
So if we did win next season, I think you've got to say the 3-year plan. Where's he going to take us next?
Well, we mentioned this when I was here 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
It's gone out the window.
I think the fact is that it's a long-term option. It's not a long-term option, but to bring in a long-term option too early would be also, well, it wouldn't work for the squad. So I mean, you've got to look at what he can achieve in the time he's got. You've got to think, if we can win the Premier League, can we go on to win the Champions League with LVG? And that's all to it, really.
Okay.
I couldn't really say much in that.
Van Gaal says himself, football is ruthless. So if we were to win the league next year and he wanted to carry on, but Pep Guardiola, who would be, 45, becomes available...
I think Van Gaal has to accept what he says himself.
Yeah, we can't risk Guardiola going to the likes of City or even Liverpool. I don't think he would. But imagine, he's...
Yeah, but does it not disturb the squad again?
Yeah, of course it does. We'll be back in transitional period. But this is another issue that I wanted to bring up with Guardiola. If we did go for him, I would want guarantees he was there for the long run. I'm talking a 6, maybe even 7-year deal. I don't like David Moyes. Obviously that wasn't successful, but
no, but you need him on that.
You
sort
need
of contract.
longevity, yeah. So if Guardiola comes in and does the same what he's done to Bayern Munich, I'll only give them 3 years. I'm not interested. I'd rather us go for Klopp. But if he comes in and says, "Yeah, I want to settle down," 6-7 year contract's fine with me. I've got no issue with that at all.
I mean, the reality is we're never going to find another manager as committed as Fergie.
No, it's going to be a bouncing ball. Every 5-6 years, we're going to need a new manager now. We're going to be like every other team. Yeah, so...
I think it's sad, really, because I think we've dealt with this period of transition so badly. The idea of another one to follow... potentially even under LVG, we might have another transitional season next season. Then, if he goes,
another transitional,
does it just become a constant series of transition?
It becomes
3 years, become 10 years.
It becomes a bit of a joke. Yeah, you might win the odd thing now and again, but it does become a bit. You look at Ancelotti,
Arsenal as well. I mean, they went from top of the Premier League, contending for the Champions League, now battling for 4th, and we're starting to get back in there.
The FA Cup, yeah.
I mean, even with a manager that's that stuck around.
You look at Ancelotti at Real Madrid.
True.
He won the La Decima last year. He's been sacked by Real Madrid this year for not winning anything. Which, granted, you should win something with that squad, but after winning, the Decima, I think that's a double. You've got to give the guy a bit of credit, but no, he's gone, and they've replaced him with a man who made assurances to Napoli that I'd get them in the Champions League spot, failed, and has gone to one of the biggest clubs in the world, the fat Spanish waiter.
It's insane.
It's ridiculous management decision. Like Rafael Benitez and Ancelotti, are you serious? Who would you rather have?
Yeah, I mean, this is it. I mean, I said last week I can't understand for the life of me why you'd get rid of Ancelotti for Rafa Benitez. I think it's bizarre.
It made it a bit easier for the De Gea sale.
Barcelona
They're now tugging over him, aren't they, Ancelotti and Van Gaal?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well with that is it might put us in a stronger position now.
That's what the hope is, isn't it, anyway?
Would you really want to go and work with Rafael Benitez?
Well,
I saw that in a paper yesterday about Van Gaal and Benitez kind of in a bit of a fight now for De Gea, and it's become more fair, let's say, than having the set manager that was there already.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I still think he's going, but I think we're in a better position to maybe get something back out of this now.
Well, you've seen Lloris recently, how confident he is about talking about United. There's something going on behind the scenes. You wouldn't come out and say Eric Cantona's your hero and your boyhood team was Manchester United unless you knew there was some guarantees. Yeah, and he's playing and he's Spurs is number one.
Yeah.
So there must be some guarantees behind the scenes that we don't know about.
I think at least we're in a position to get something back, like Benzema now. He seems to be integral to the deal going ahead, so at least we're getting something back in return. You're grimacing on the other side of the glass.
Another old, weary player.
Really?
He's not old. He's 27, but I really don't want him.
He's not a long-term plan. He's one of them players.
Well, it's not just that. 15 goals in the league, and he's playing for a team like Madrid.
He's not ever proven, has he? I don't think I've seen a season where I thought Benzema's going to be...
I've never thought he's top-notch,
no.
if I'm being honest with you.
I mean, look at all the other options we spoke about last week.
Yeah.
They're all better than Benzema.
I just think the world of football is suffering because of the likes of Barcelona and Real Madrid like two brothers trying to fight with each other. Like I've made this point to you, Andy, about 2009. Messi was sort of coming of age for Barcelona. They had their star man. Madrid at the time had an ageing Raul, Ronaldo, who was still there, the old Ronaldo, and they needed their star man, so they went out and signed Ronaldo.
Not only him, but Kaká in the same summer.
Exactly, they needed their sort of Barcelona players, yeah. And then the following year or 2 years, Barcelona signed Neymar for some ridiculous amount of money that was really corrupt and dodgy, but we won't talk about that. Madrid then went out, and who did they sign? Bale.
And James.
And James.
Rodriguez
and then
as well, yeah.
Finally...
He's not really turned it on for Real Madrid, has he?
Hasn't, no. He's sort of gone missing, and that was 63 million, I think.
World Cup, he was on top of his...
Oh, he was a star, yeah.
Exactly. Now you look to actual competition where it should be easy for him in a squad like that.
Yeah.
But it's not. It doesn't appear to be that way.
He's not the only ex-Monaco Colombian player that struggled in a new team this season, is he? So
I knew you were smiling for a reason.
And finally, Barcelona signs Suarez for another stupid amount of money, but he's obviously worth it. He's a horrible player, but he's very good at the same time. And then Real Madrid look like now they're gearing up to go for Aguero. So it seems like two brothers fighting with each other constantly, and the world of football is,
Would Aguero leave City?
Yeah. City fans won't like that, but at the end of the day, I think he will.
I mean, football has, as we sort of mentioned earlier in the show, it's breeded a sort of generation of mercenaries now. It's sad, but that's just the way football is.
Well, my example of this is Christoph Samba was at QPR.
This is an interesting example.
Obviously a ridiculous example, but I'm going to use it anyway, so just bear with me.
I know why you're using it.
Christoph Samba was at QPR. They offered him £80,000 a week. Ridiculous amount of money for an average defender. He thought, I'll have some of that. Came over here, didn't have a very good time. In January, the racist-ridden League of Russia offered him $100,000 a week. So he went back over to there to get hurled abused at constantly. Yeah, they were throwing bananas at him. He was monkey chants.
Awful. Yeah.
All that for $20,000 extra.
I know.
I think that sums up modern football.
It is. It's an mercenaries game now, sadly. That's the way it just turns out. But let's just turn back to the question, because we've really taken this off on a path I wasn't expecting. Christoph Samba from would you get rid of Van Gaal if they win the Premier League? There you go. This is the Chronicles for you. But Joe, you've said then you would get rid of Van Gaal if he won the Premier League. You'd move on to a longer term option, yeah?
No. No, not. I'd leave him for another year. So
you'd let him see out his contract?
I think that's fair.
I couldn't do that. I just don't think it's worth the risk.
Yeah, but it depends if Pep was available.
I think Pep turned City down and I think he is waiting for the United job.
Well, I mean, there's some interesting tweets coming on this. Tim Jones, who got involved on this one as well, put they should get rid of LVG only if he doesn't achieve the objective set. So
that's kind of where I stand on it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's sort of Joe's view as well. If he wins the league, he should be kept, is what Tim Jones is saying. Whereas True Fan United is more down the sort of line that me and Nick are going down.
Brutal.
Yeah.
If Pep's free next year, get rid.
Yeah,
simple.
That's all he's gone for. Get rid no matter what.
I don't care
Pep being
if I don't care if Van Gaal wins the treble. He's going.
Welcome to the game of mercenaries.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The man, he's a good manager. He's a top manager, but he's 64. You know, he's old enough to be our granddad. So if he becomes available, he's going in my eyes.
So there you go. The players are becoming mercenaries. The Chronicles are becoming mercenaries.
Oh, we're always fickle, Andy.
You've heard our thoughts on this. You've heard some of the fans' views as well. But next up, it is time for you, the fans, to take over. Now then, it's time for the fans' thoughts on the big debates. Throughout the week on Twitter, at WeFollowUnited, we asked you to give us topics that you wanted to discuss, and we asked you for a number of opinions throughout the week as well. Now, we started out with a question regarding England players, basically following that drab, soul-destroying 0-0 draw against Ireland, of course. Now, the question was this: with FA proposals wanting more homegrown players in the Premier League, how many English players would you sign? Now, before you hear our thoughts, let's see what some of the fans had to say on Twitter. Nick, give us a brief overview.
Yeah, we've got a few here that we've got written down. Clay, 1978 United, killed two birds with one stone. Theo Walcott, he wants to play through the middle. We've got pace to burn, and he'll be available, and we need him badly.
Okay.
We've got Tim_Jones. I like the look of Stones. He's the one for the future. Sterling would make the rivalry more interesting, and it would add pace, directness to our attack. Even a stranger this, Sturridge would boost our attacking power, but that's obviously never going to happen. Plus, he gets injured a bit too much.
Okay, we've got at Copious Opium, that's Ryan, one of our followers who gets involved in a lot of these debates. Thanks for this, Ryan. Big fan of United having a big presence in the England squad. So he mentions Klein and Barkley if he had to choose, and also add Harry Kane to that list as well. And we've got at Desh_P. He says one, maybe two. Right back again, Klein. We've mentioned enough about him. And a striker, Berahino or Kane. So a couple of interesting ones out there.
I like the Berahino shout.
Yeah,
do you remember him at the Old Trafford a couple of months back with his agent?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it looked likely, didn't it? I mean, there's some good opinions knocked out there, and there's some interesting shouts as well. I mean, I think personally, I don't know if you agree with this, Nick, but in terms of our opinion on this, I don't think there's any current sort of world-class players in the England squad at all.
Nowhere near.
I mean,
Wayne Rooney's not world-class.
No.
I don't think we've had genuinely world-class players for a while. I think probably Rooney of 4 or 5 years ago was the closest thing we had. Scholes even 10 years ago. Well, in terms of world-class players, we haven't got any. We've just got potential there.
And I think what we do have is bags of young potential coming through. I mean, there's a lot of exciting faces in there. I mean, you've mentioned about Berahino, Barkley. Even Klein, you could still count as a youngster within that. There's a lot of young players. Harry Kane as well, the obvious one. So there's still plenty of young talent to come through. I mean, Nick, we'll start with you on this. You've heard the fans' opinions. I mean, which, if any, English players would you like to see at United?
I would like Berahino.
Okay.
As an alternative to the pricey Kane. I think he had a solid season in a very poor West Brom team. But I'm going to be a little bit controversial. I do like Sterling. I like him a lot. I don't think there's a chance of us getting him, though. There's a lot of negativity surrounding him at the moment by United fans saying they don't want him on the various social medias out there. Yes, he is overpriced and he is raw talent, but he does have pace to burn. And I've seen rumours in the Guardian newspaper, they don't usually talk rubbish, that he does want to work under Van Gaal. And he could be the first player since, I think it's the 60s, to come to United.
I don't know if it was earlier than that, I don't know if I'm reading right here, but I think it was 1938, I've got it in my mind. It was as long as that. It's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of teams in Europe that have been scouting Sterling for quite a while. You've got Real Madrid, even Barcelona are looking at him. He isn't a bad player. He's going to be a top player. I don't see the negative. I would happily pay 30-40 million for him.
Okay,
It's massively overpriced, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth the risk.
Okay, I mean, we'll talk Sterling a little bit more in the transfer talk section. So you've mentioned him. You've mentioned Berahino.
I've seen a few. Obviously, we've got a few quotes here about Stones.
Would you take Stones?
No. I think he's... Is he much better than Paddy McNair at the moment?
Not really.
There's not a lot in it, but he'd cost around 20 million.
Right, so you said in your squad, in terms of your United team, if you were taking on an English talent, Berahino as
3
an
players that I'd
alternative,
take.
Sterling is the other,
and Barkley.
Barkley, okay.
And obviously, you mentioned Klein earlier, but...
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But Barkley, I think he's possibly the closest thing to a young Rooney out there at the moment. I think he's not being used correctly at Everton. I think he might flourish under Van Gaal.
Okay. I mean, I'd go for 4 myself. I'd go Sterling and Klein, as you've mentioned, as 2 of them. I'd also go for Walcott.
He's available.
He's available.
I can see why.
And
you like your bargains, Dover?
I am. Yeah, I'm a big fan of him as well. I just think he plays the game in the right way, and he's starting to turn good now. You know, he's turned into a finisher more so than Sterling as well at the moment. And I'm going to go slightly different from you on Ross Barkley, a similar sort of mould of player in terms of his size and stature, but different in terms of the way he plays.
I know who you're going to say here.
Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's a really exciting prospect for me, and he's still only 21. I think a lot of people forget how young he still is.
And he looks like a Ninja Turtle.
He does, but yeah, he's an absolute machine of a player. I remember the performance against us in the FA Cup. I know he ended up getting injured and got taken off.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant.
He was phenomenal that
he's
night.
Brilliant.
Absolutely
he kept
incredible.
Beating players left, right and centre.
It's not the first time you've seen him do that as well, and what impresses for me is his versatility to play well. With a lot of versatile players, it's usually... there's something at the end of it that's sacrificed, and that's usually talent. Yeah. I'm talking Phil Jones, I'm talking Daley Blind for United.
Think we could get him?
No. I've got to be honest, I don't think Arsenal would sell. Why would you sell a prospect like that?
He's a better potential than Walcott was.
I know they've got a lot of options in their squad in terms of midfielders at the moment, but at 21,
I think Wenger does see him as the future.
Much time to grow, and he can play on the wing. He's also been played a lot centre mid recently as well, so they would be the 4 I'd go for. Do keep that coming in. It was really interesting debate to have on Twitter at We Follow United, as I say. So please let us know your thoughts further on that. But they're the players that we'd go for. Moving on to our other topic that was big on the fan takeover this week, which could be seen as a big gamble here. We're talking RVP. Would you sell him or would you keep him? What's been the views on Twitter on that one, Nick?
Yeah, our friend again, Tim_Jones. It depends on who could come in or whether he's motivated to play for us, which is an interesting point.
Yeah.
After his latest quotes, it sounds like he may not be, especially if he doesn't start most games. I'd be more likely to keep him, though. I mean, he's a world-class striker and he's guaranteed to score you a goal. Unlike any of the new signings, he wouldn't need to adapt. So there's some good points raised by Tim.
Yeah, definitely. At CM Dunk's gone with this angle. He says sell. Too much money in wages, injury prone now, prolong his career somewhere warm, should be used as a part exchange. Now, he's gone with an interesting one here. He thinks we should sell him to AC Milan in exchange for someone like a Abate. He says that solves the right back.
I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, he says it solves the right back issue. That's a really interesting one.
Not Abate, personally. I think he's a little bit overrated, and defensively I don't think he's all that. I think he started his career as a right winger. Desilio is quite a strange one. I've not heard that one before. He's a very young right back, I think. He's only 2021. He's Milan born and bred. So possibly an interesting shout there out the box.
I mean, thanks again to those of you that got involved on that debate on Twitter. I mean, we'll give our sort of thoughts on that now, backing up from that. It's divided opinion on Twitter, Nick. What are your thoughts? Do you keep or do you sell Robin van Persie?
There's a lot of ifs with my decision on this. I'd keep him, but only if we didn't get a top-class striker. If we go into the market this summer and we don't get the likes of, I've mentioned it before, Lacazette, Higuain, our best friend Big Lewandowski, if we didn't get any of them, that sort of level striker, someone who is going to get you 20, 25 goals a season, I'd look to keep him because you do need a bit of squad depth. He will still get you at 32, 15, 20 goals a season if he stays fit. That's the big issue with Van Persie.
The fitness is the issue without
But you need to look at the time when he was under Fergie. They mastered his diet plan, they mastered his training. He was fit constantly, and I think under Van Gaal that's changed a lot, and his body's not took to it.
Why? Obviously with Van Gaal working with Van Persie with the Dutch squad.
If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Why has he not managed to adapt that though? Because it seems to work for Holland, or it certainly did do. I mean, if you look at him at the World Cup, after the season under Moyes, where everyone was terrible. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I'm just wiping that one under the carpet.
Yeah, but everyone was awful. Van Persie goes into that World Cup, surely morale down about the season he's had, and he was incredible. He looks a different player at the World Cup.
Fantastic performances, and he wasn't even 100% fit.
And where's that gone now then?
I don't know. What bugs me, I just said it a minute ago, when Moyes came to United originally, Fergie offered to help him stick to the training methods Fergie used and the diet Fergie used. Moyes wiped all that away and said, I want to do it my way. Then Van Persie was injured. If it's not broken, don't fix it. You had a player there who could score you 30 goals in a league, top of his game, and you came in and started telling him what to do. Okay. It was never going to work. It was always a recipe for disaster.
So keep or sell?
Again, I'd probably keep if we don't sign the players that I want.
Okay. I don't like the idea of getting rid of RVP simply because it leaves us short on options, as you say. I also don't like the FIFA concept that you buy 2 or 3 new forwards in and they instantly bed in. That just doesn't happen for me. As you say, Van Persie is a world-class finisher when he's fit, although fitness, of course, is an issue with him. And although he isn't sort of adding pace to the squad, which is something we need, he does add a lot of experience.
We will have that on the wing next season as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he's still got a lot to sort of offer. He was the single bright spark against West Brom in that really disappointing game at Old Trafford. I still think he's got something to give.
I just think you need to wrap him in bubble wrap a bit and maybe lesser down his training methods. Stop giving him such strict regimes at his age.
Definitely. I think if you keep Rooney and Van Persie and add a new striker to that, I think you've got a really good 3 in terms of options there. So thanks, again, to all the fans that have got involved in the debates there. Really interesting stuff on Twitter, and do keep your opinions coming in at We Follow United. It's always great to hear. Also, keep your topics coming in to us, and you can also ask us any questions regarding United anytime during the week. Use the hashtag AskRDC. That's been the Fan Takeover. Next, it's the one and only. It's Dodgy Dave. Here we go then, it's that time of the week again. Let's see what's going on in the mind of Dodgy Dave this week. Dave, welcome back.
Good evening.
Hola.
Hello. Oh yeah, you're Spanish now, are you? After your holiday in Tenerife.
This is it. That's the one word he learnt over there. So.
Buenos dias.
Oh yeah. And dos cervezas, por favor.
Where are we speaking to you from tonight, Dave?
The John Millington. Where you graced it with Jeff Stelling.
Yeah, the very same, yeah.
Yeah.
What a day.
Still trying to get a discount on that, but they're not having any of it now.
Yeah, that ship sailed now, sadly. Just for those that saw it on Twitter, I didn't win the People's Pundit, unfortunately, but I did get a pint with Jeff, so
you gave it a good effort.
Pros and cons. Let's talk about something slightly less interesting than that, I guess. The England game, 0-0 against Ireland. Did you get a chance to watch the game, Dave?
I watched about 20 minutes, but yeah.
I don't blame you.
Painting a wall, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think the problem is with England?
They're boring, not particularly entertaining. Yeah.
Do you think there's any players we're missing? Any players sort of sat on the bench or on the fringes that should be given a chance?
Walcott.
I was going to say they're going to be all Arsenal, aren't they?
No, not at all. I wouldn't play Walcott. I would not play Sterling. No.
You won't play Sterling?
I'd play Walcott over Sterling.
Okay. Any other players Walcott. You think we're missing out on?
What, do you have to be English or could it be international players?
Well, it's England we're talking about, so probably English.
English, please, Dave.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Emil Heskey maybe, bring him back.
Yeah, it's genius, isn't it? I mean,
genuine goal scorer, yeah.
Genius.
And probably Joe Cole just to add a bit of flair to the team.
Okay, we're going down that route, are we?
Right, move on.
Yeah, we are.
Joe Cole. Right, well, of course we know, Dave.
Joe Cole for England.
We know this weekend England are playing, of course, in a European qualifier as well as many other teams. And Dave, we know that you support pretty much any team going, depending on who's doing well at the time. Yeah. So, Dave, who are you supporting this week?
This week, money's got to go on Gibraltar, to be honest.
I was really hoping you'd say Gibraltar.
Yeah, massive outsiders. Playing the World Cup winners, I think.
Yeah, they are, against Germany. Yep. Yeah. Yes, they did, Dave. Well done.
Knowledge there.
Yeah, exactly. Pundit right in the making here.
I think they might just scrape a 1-1 draw or something like that.
Yeah, I think they're 20-1 for the draw, if anyone fancies putting a bit of money on it. 50-1 for the win.
Can you imagine?
Incredible.
How many?
50-1 for the win, Dave.
all the bookies are based in Gibraltar.
Yeah.
You don't think get better odds than that.
Yeah, well, you'd think, wouldn't you? But they are at home, so maybe they could push home some home advantage. There you go. If you're looking for a tip this weekend, don't back Gibraltar, but that's who Dave's following. Dave, only one way to close up with this section of the show. Please tell us, what is your story of the week?
Well, my story of the week this week would be when I was on my way up to Darlington yesterday. Exciting times. On the M62 on the way up, just joining the M1. And I noticed in my rearview mirror a lot of blue flashing lights and a black Vauxhall Insignia travelling at some speed. I tried to get out of the way, and then pulled behind me, and then just sort of was using me as a bit of a shield for a little while, I think, from the police car, and then turned off, and then turned back on, and then turned off and turned back on the motorway at every junction, and I ended up getting swarmed by police cars for about 15 miles.
Cheers, Dave. We end the show, as we always do, with dedicated transfer talk and roundup. Now, we just spoke with Dodgy Dave, who mentioned about playing Sterling ahead of Theo Walcott. Interesting thoughts, and we wanted to kick off with talk about Sterling and also Walcott as well. We've been sort of linked with both, more so Sterling recently. Nick, kick us off. What's the latest on Sterling, firstly?
Well, we're always active on social media. I've been looking throughout the night, I think, according to the Times. Again, we record this on Thursday, so if you'll listen to this on Saturday and things have changed, according to us from right now, the Times have apparently bid £30 million. City have apparently bid £30 million, for Sterling. I think we need to go in for him, if I'm being honest with you. I like Walcott a lot, don't get me wrong. He's available very cheap because I think he's only got 12 months left in his contract. I don't understand why we're not in for him either. I think we should be in for both of them, really. I
mean, we need an injection of pace. We've talked about this so often here on the Chronicles, and I think both provide it in abundance. Obviously, they're both capable also of playing up front, so as well as that front three playing on the wings, they could play as the front man of the three as well, I think. Yeah,
well, this is a bit of a ridiculous thing to throw at you, but imagine we were to sign Sterling and get Walcott. We could potentially have a front, say, four of Walcott up front, Depay on the left wing, Di Maria on the right wing, and then stick Sterling behind the front man. Or
even stick Di Maria back in the midfield where I know he's comfortable playing and reverse that.
The pace in that team is frightening.
It'd be unbelievable. Yeah, shocking. We were talking earlier about inflated market values. Now, we're saying we'd take both Walcott and Sterling. I agree with that. But how much would you spend on Sterling? You've just saying City have had a bid supposedly rejected of 30 million according to the Times. What would you spend on Sterling?
I'm not going to be liked for this. I'm going to be called quite a stupid person, but I'd happily pay 40 million for him. It's massively overpriced, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's worth anywhere near that. But he is a Liverpool player. We talked this before. I don't think Liverpool players make the move that much. There's been rumours on The Guardian, like we said before, about him wanting to work under Van Gaal. Apparently he was a boyhood United fan.
That's right.
Don't quote me on that. So I'd happily pay £40 million for him. But
I don't know if I'd happily.
I wouldn't go any higher than that, but I'd happily pay that. But just a quick thing to throw at you.
Go on.
If we were to offer Liverpool, obviously they need a striker now because Danny Sturridge is constantly injured.
You're going to mention Hernandez?
If we were to offer them 30 million,
right,
same as City, plus Hernandez, would Brendan Rodgers be tempted?
I think he would be. Yeah, I think definitely. And using Hernandez as a bit of a pawn of getting something we want, I think we're going to have to do that with players. I think that's just got the way it's got to be. I think we also have to accept in the modern game that what players are actually worth in our minds and what you have to pay market value
is not what they're worth now.
They're two different entities now, aren't they? So I think you would have to pay it. I don't know if I'd pay it
Liverpool
happily.
Need to be realistic. He doesn't want to play for them.
Yeah.
They can't keep him. It'll be poison in the dressing room. They do not want to sell to us. They've categorically ruled that out. However, if he does want to come to us instead of City, and we offer him the money, and we were to offer them, say, 30 million plus Hernandez, I think Brendan Rodgers would be very tempted.
Definitely. Now, we've said then Sterling and Walcott, we'd have both. Someone we wouldn't have, though, that we've been rumoured with during the week, and this one's come out of nowhere as well, so I don't know how much truth there is.
It's quite advanced, the deal as well.
Really?
Yeah, according to the, obviously, Twitter world.
This is Mandzukic we're talking.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I don't want him.
No, I don't either.
I don't think he's particularly any better than what we've got. He's 29, which shocked me. I thought he was about 26. So he is getting on a bit.
Look back at his career stats as well. He's never scored more than 18 league goals in a season.
And look at the teams he's played for.
Yeah, he's played for some dominating teams in there as well.
You know, they dominate the German division.
Dynamo Zagreb dominating their division.
Yeah.
Atletico obviously been brilliant last couple of seasons. I know obviously behind Barca and Real Madrid, but still right up there. But to have a player who's never scored 20 goals in a season, I mean, that's so bad.
Yeah, slow, not prolific. I don't really think he fits into United's style of play. He's not technically gifted enough.
He's no better than what we've got.
I'd rather have Van Persie still.
Yeah, and he's a very tall player, so there's that side of him. But then, does he become Fellaini Mark II?
This is the
obviously
embarrassing
an upgrade.
I want us to play better football than that.
Yeah, and I just think we'd end up throwing it in towards him.
I agree on that.
Yeah. Now, moving back to some more transfer news of deals close to being done, but one that we do want is Ilkay Gundogan.
I think they've suspended betting on it. I'm not entirely sure on this, but Bwin tweeted, "Welcome Ilkay Gundogan to United." Then I think it was about 5 minutes later deleted the tweet after thousands of people had seen it.
This has looked like our most likely transfer of the summer for weeks now.
Chevrolet did similar last season with Mata, I think.
Yeah.
I think they tweeted a few days before the deal was officially confirmed. Everyone knew it was going to happen. So I suspect we are going to get Gundogan, and that's going to be a brilliant purchase.
Great signing. One more then in terms of players in. Firmino. This one's come out of nowhere.
Yeah, this was tonight actually.
Yeah.
Thursday night again. This has come out of nowhere. He plays for Hoffenheim. Brazilian, quite a tall lad, about 6 foot. Very, very good at dribbling. And scores quite a few goals from midfield and gets you a few assists.
Got 12 this season, which is many as our top scorer. It's incredible.
Oh yeah, the currently world class.
Yeah.
Wayne Rooney.
I mean, it's a difficult division when you consider he plays for Hoffenheim, but he plays in a variety of midfield roles as well, so he could certainly add something in terms of depth and variety in the team.
Definitely. I think he is basically squad depth. I don't think he's a cemented starter.
13.1 million batted as the fee for him. One player potentially heading out, Nick. This is an interesting one. Valdez to Valencia.
Yeah, we talked about this on the way here. I think if Valdez does want to go back to Spain, which is all than more likely because he's Spanish, we could potentially need 2 goalkeepers. De Gea leaving, Valdez leaving. Obviously I want Lloris. I think we both agree on that. You want him as well.
Yeah.
But we could end up having to get another one as well.
Interesting. Well, if you've got any thoughts on this, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel for regular content. You can follow us at WeFollowUnited on Twitter, so do get involved and give us your views. We love to hear them. So, as we were saying then, as Nick returns from Spain to Manchester, both our goalkeepers might be heading the opposite way. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, as always. Adios.